Hi there, and welcome to the Multiply You podcast, where we showcase top experts in their space and reveal all the secrets you need to know to multiply you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Austin Clark here, host of the Multiply You podcast. Really excited to be doing this again with you today. I've got Lincoln Hall, a fantastic guest. He is the president of one of the leading software companies as it relates to the pest space. And I've also got more questions about that, if the offering is just pest or home service or all together. But he has a very colorful, if you will, in a positive way, background that I think uniquely qualifies him to speak to and about some of the things that he'll speak to us about. So really glad to have Lincoln here. Before I get on to introducing him, I want to welcome everyone here to the show. This episode, as you know, it's brought to you by my company, Moxie Pest Control, which is a pest control company. So you can understand some of my excitement to be able to have Lincoln on and to be able to speak with him as it relates to technology in the space, or the very space rather that I'm in. So my company sponsors this podcast and has for pretty much the entirety of the show. And we have been so fortunate at Moxie, just not here locally in Phoenix, but nationally, to be growing at steady clips. We try to do it all the same ways that you guys are growing your companies, whether it's grassroots campaigns or search engine optimization, pay-per-click campaigns. Local service ads has been a real hot thing the last 18 months or so. But part of how we've been doing it is we've just found that, as you kind of see different articles about different companies being acquired, big companies, normally we kind of found a space that was underserved and kind of that $500,000 to $10 million mark, where some of these larger players weren't as interested in that part of the market as they were with the $10 million or $20 million plus part of the market. And so we have not necessarily stepped in to fill that, but we found that we've been successful there and that we have a lot to offer those kind of mid-level type firms. And so if you're interested in talking more about that, you can reach me directly. You can call or text me on my cell. It's 480-254-9730, or you can email me directly at aclark@moxiepestcontrol.com. Lincoln has been at this for a while. He is the president of Briostack, where his role aligns with his vision to help customers and team members succeed. And that was very transparent to me just in the 2 or 3 minutes that we were talking before. He's like, look, what we do here at Briostack is we win when our customers are winning. And that really resonates because as a business owner myself, you've got all these different partners as it relates to your fleet, your product, your people, your software that you're using. I mean, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of companies and contractors that you're working with. And when they're allowing you to win and succeed, then they do too. And so that approach is so important. He was originally the COO and part of the Briostack founding team. In 2009, Lincoln began as the COO at Sage Pest Control. So he has tons of institutional knowledge and practical experience as well, where he helped establish the strategic vision, built the customer service and accounting departments, and helped grow the company into a stable and highly profitable enterprise. Lincoln, thank you so much for being here and for your time. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, man. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate what you're doing with this podcast and in the industry. So,
yeah, no, of course. Happy always to have guests on, and especially guests such as yourself that have kind of been there, done that, and been part of the industry for a long time, and is just really helping to propel and launch it forward in a way that it couldn't previously. Before when we were talking, we talked about back in the day when people would either sell contracts or service accounts, and it was done with the old trifold of the white copy and pink copy and yellow copy. And because of your firm and other firms, we don't have to do that anymore. I would love to, and just thinking about that, when we first made a switch from kind of paper over a decade ago to more of a software-based approach in serving customers, I mean, just the time that it saved and the communication was streamlined. I mean, almost overnight. I want to back up and hear a little bit of your story and start wherever you feel that is most appropriate. Maybe it's with Sage back in 2009, but you weren't always the president of Briostack. What are some of the experiences that you've had that have led you kind of to this point to help you drive the company forward?
Yeah, so for years, I've just kind of been a serial entrepreneur, and there have been several of us that have worked together over the years in different projects, and had the opportunity to be involved in a lot of the CS and strategic vision of companies and the financial side, and really kind of rolling up into operational roles. You mentioned starting with Sage. So that's a company that started here where we're at, local here in Utah. We're just south of Salt Lake City, and expanded to North Carolina. Brandon Grover is the CEO of that organization, and started that. That was a long time ago, though in some ways it doesn't feel that long ago. So, we looked at the industry. It was an interesting thing. We were looking at software, and we used a homegrown solution for a little while, and started branching out like most pest control companies do. Started to grow, needed a solution, and just didn't see anything out there in the market that was based on workflow best practices for the industry. And there were a lot of opportunities, other solutions, but it just didn't help kind of our best practice approach, and creating workflows that allowed people to be creative, your employees, how they were working, but in a really streamlined fashion. And so we had done some things together in some previous projects that allowed us to take that software solution and repurpose it over the years towards pest control. And then after a couple of years, we decided, you know what? We can take this to market and provide solutions to other pest control companies, provide efficiencies, operational gains, growth gains through the system. And so that's how Briostack was born. And that's really where I've just found a good home. I love providing the opportunity to there's challenges out there, right, that all businesses face. And being able to say, okay, let's get to the solution. Let's not look at these as problems. Let's look at these as challenges, and get to the far end of that and be successful. And software should allow you to do that. And so I've really enjoyed that transition from understanding pest control, being with Sage, moving into Brio. We were acquired in 2021 by EverCommerce. They're a company in Denver, Colorado, and their mission aligned with ours. It really was a good fit. We have a lot of other solution orgs that serve the service that the field services verticals, HVAC, plumbing, landscape design, roofing, contractors, all of that. And so that's been a really good opportunity. And it was at that point in 2021 that I moved into the president's role. And have enjoyed this the entire time I've been here.
So we had talked just before we went live. You guys just finished up over the weekend. I think it just ended, you said yesterday, a user conference. I'm sure that you guys have many, many, many objectives as you plan for weeks on end and months on end to make that a good, positive experience for a lot of your customers that are either they're coming in physically or that are patching in remotely. And I would imagine that some of the things that you're addressing is like, hey, here's some things that we've heard over and over and over the last 3 years. And so maybe let's tell people how we're working to maybe either solve some of those issues or whatever, or maybe part of that is a roadmap. Could you, I don't mean to have you give us your entire speech or stump speech from the last couple of days, but I'm just interested as to what some of those things were that were kind of points that you were driving home during that conference. I mean, what were some of the things that you were sharing with your clients?
So we typically take a couple of days each year, and most of our user conferences have been virtual so that we can provide access to all of our customers. We have done some on site, but we found that virtual gets to a broader audience. And we have different sessions. So like you mentioned, we like to review what we've released in the past year. And we have an extremely large product. And there is sometimes, as an owner of a pest control company or a leader there, you're just heads down. It's a whirlwind. You're focused on your job, and you forget that the software you're using is growing and improving. And so we'll put out announcements, but it's a really good opportunity to remind people what we've released as far as large and important features over the past year. And that's always a fun one, because in the chats and communications, people will be pleasantly surprised. Wait, you guys have that? I'm so excited. I must have missed that when you released it 6 months ago. And we're really aggressive about new features and improving our features all of the time, putting out new features or tools or utilities. And so that's a popular session. We do like to look forward. Our product and engineering team will present what we're working on. And that may be something that we're going to release at the end of this quarter, which we've got some really exciting features planned there, or it's over the next couple of years. And so we'll show either the work that we have been doing, or we'll show mock-ups of concepts of particular features that we're focusing on, just to get people excited about where we're headed, but also let them know these have come out of your feedback. Our product decisions are driven by the need of the pest control companies. And we want people to know this is where we're headed. Reach out to us. If you've got good advice on how we should be thinking about this and what we need to include, then please do. So that's a very popular one as well. We went over, we have an automated notification suite, which is extremely powerful in our solution. And sometimes that's underutilized by some of our smaller companies. And there are effectiveness or real cost savings available through an automated notification platform. So we address that. We give our partners opportunities to talk about the value they bring. We have integrated partnerships inside our solution that really help to 10x the effectiveness of what Brio can do. I like to take time, and in the past years, I've done something that's more around general business. So this last session yesterday, I talked about a book by Cy Wakeman called Reality-Based Leadership. And it's an awesome leadership methodology. And that's something that's so important. The pest control companies that grow have leaders that are invested without egos and are interested in solving problems and helping their team do the same thing. And so I took about 45, 50 minutes and talked about that book. Last year, I focused on the 4 disciplines of execution and encourage people to employ something like that, or OKRs, as a methodology for moving forward the projects that you're working on and things you need to accomplish. Let's see what else. That's probably most of what we have. A module, a marketing module we call Playbooks, that we addressed. It gives people the opportunity to kind of set it and forget. A remarketing campaign, automated campaigns that help with collections and upsells. And so we talk through that feature. So it really does. It's a great opportunity to, again, get back engaged with our customers that we have good relationships with. And it's fun to see people again in the chats, and we get a chance to really engage with the whole group at Pest World and then in our user conference every year. So.
What was the thing, Lincoln, that you were most excited about over this last year that Briostack released? And then what is something that's on the roadmap for the upcoming year that you're most excited that you guys are looking to be able to release?
Oh, you're going to limit me to one. That's probably fair, but maybe not fair at the same time. There's so many, obviously. I'll I'll say bids or estimates. So in Q4 of last year, we rolled out a bids estimate proposal tool that is really powerful, that allows you to either in person or over the phone create a proposal, show it to a customer. It can be an A or B and C option. And so if you have different tiers of your GPC, your general pest service, for example, you can say, hey, we've got a good, better, best. Here are the pricing. Here are all the benefits. It looks really clean, which is really important. And then you can have add-ons as part of it. And that's really powerful. And again, I get back to kind of our smaller customers. The bigger pest control companies have adopted a lot of these important things. You've got to look professional. You need to come across as a company that knows what they're doing. And so your website has to look professional. Your technicians and your trucks need to look professional. And but so does your communications and presentation with them. So your contracts and these bids are so important to come across like you know what you're doing, because you do. Even if you're a smaller operation, you know what you're doing. And so you can present yourself in a really good way with these bids in your first interaction with the customer. So that's probably the most exciting one over the past year. Looking forward, we are rolling out a diagramming, graphing feature that can be used in multiple aspects: termite, commercial, general pest, the lawn side. We are a pest and lawn solution, and that allows you to put that diagram in a bid, for example, to be able to help explain to your customer the pricing. And there's a pricing calculator that we released that is part of this flow. And then it actually even flows through to the servicing side. And so you can attach stations to it. So your technicians can use that as a reference as they're going out for their appointments or jobs. And it becomes a seamless use of that diagram throughout the servicing process for your customer. So that one's scheduled to come out hopefully the end of Q2. It's a massive feature. It will be a game changer, and our estimation is that this will be the best integrated diagramming solution for pest control companies. It's integrated in all of the workflows. It doesn't have to be an outside solution. There doesn't have to be an integration. And so we're excited about that one.
No, that's incredible. And you answered one of the other questions that I had as it relates to verticals and pest or HVAC or garage doors. So Briostack serves a variety of industries, not just pest. It sounds like most of them are home service. How would you, what are the top three industries that if Briostack is $100 million company, I totally just made that up, but what percentage of your revenue are pest control companies, and what percent of revenue is HVAC companies? And are you guys heavy on the pest? Are you guys spreading that out amongst other industries because the software is that incredible that owners are recognizing, like, my goodness, I just have to have them in my HVAC company as well, or my landscaping company as well? What does that spread look like?
Yeah, so Briostack focuses primarily on pest and lawn care and lawn maintenance. And and a majority of it is pest. 80% of our revenues come from pest. We have some of the focus as far as features it's really expanding our opportunity to move up market for those larger pest control companies. So the bids and the diagramming is part of that, right? We want to get into those larger companies that they have a mix of services. It's not just general pest, it's termite, it's commercial services, it's MDU. They've got more complex scheduling requirements, whether it's kind of a custom-based schedule that lawn requires with the products that they use, or it's multi-tech, multi-day features. So a lot of these have allowed us to move up market, but it still is just in pest and it is in lawn there. From a broader perspective, EverCommerce has a lot of different solution organizations and companies that are our sister companies that provide solutions for HVAC and plumbing, Service Fusion and a Dynascape and FieldPoint and RoofSnap. And I get the opportunity to work with them and learn about their best practices, but we're all focused on our particular industries. And so we can be there, right? We really understand that. And that's what you need to do in these field services verticals is understand the service, understand the psyche and the mentality. And ultimately that's how you deliver for your customers. So we're just Pest and Lawn at Brio.
Yeah. And I asked because not years ago, but I've got a handful of friends that either own HVAC companies or landscape companies, garage door service type companies. And one of the softwares that I kept hearing about, and my COO and I, the last 2 years, we've actually gone to their user conference just because we were interested, but was Service Titan. And so I don't know if you guys necessarily compete or if it's kind of a different sort of thing, but we were interested in some of it appeared to me, and because I'm not totally smart, I don't know when it happened, but it seems that like some of these softwares transitioned, I say overnight, I'm sure it took many, many, many years, but transitioned from being just software companies to kind of like fully integrated operating systems to operate your company. So it's not like a customer would just use Briostack to house customer credit cards, addresses, phone numbers, service records, but it's like, hey, no, we do that, and we have a plugin to do your payroll as well, and we have a plugin, or maybe it's not a plugin, maybe it's just part of the software to do the marketing, like you said already. And so as I started to learn more about that, and you guys are obviously way ahead of the curve, my mind was just like blown. It's like, I mean, and then, some of them you can they'll have contracts through enterprise or different sorts of contractors or services where you can purchase or lease vehicles through them, or they have a preferential, rate to buy many Apple computers or Macs to outfit your office. And it's just like, holy smokes. And so I think the stickiness of a product like that is obviously great, but I think that's what business owners want too, Lincoln. They don't want to have, I think about the softwares that we use, our phones, our main CRM, right? We use Zenefits for payroll and, human resources type stuff. It's like, holy cow, if we could have all of that just in one spot, just in one place, where our employees or our contractors could just log in one time to one software to view their hours, their payroll, the jobs they've done, the customers they've served. And so it really, and am I off base there, or is software kind of moving that direction to be kind of a fully integrated, full stack, like one-stop shop sort of solution?
Yes, there definitely is that. So you mentioned Service Titan, and I know you guys use Routes. And so Service Titan would be the equivalent of EverCommerce for us. And okay. Routes, Pest Routes in the past, as they've gone through some rebranding, Routes is our direct competitor. And, they have a good solution. We've known them for years, and we've known Jared, right? It sounds like that you knew Jared, and he was involved in that before. And but that has become a focus, right? So, and that's what EverCommerce is helping Brio do as well, right? So we have other groups that we can go to. One of our partners, for example, is Socius, right? And they can help you build and optimize your website and bring in the digital leads. And so it does really create an entire ecosystem of services to help you run your business. And it's really interesting because there's two aspects to this industry that are fascinating to me. One, there is not we're all familiar with Salesforce, but nobody in Pest uses Salesforce unless it's a pure sales CRM, and they're not using it to run the other 80% of their business, right? Because of the custom workflows that are required. But yet all of these other things that you talked about, we have to do as business owners. We have to pay our employees. We have to have insurance. We've got a fleet that we need to manage, and we need to grow. And we're looking for new channels all of the time for growth. And so that is a big part of what you're seeing. And really, that's almost all of the significant software providers in the pest space are now part of these broader ecosystems that allow them to serve their customers. The interesting thing is that we still have to have our customer in mind. And there may be a solution that if we actually if we put that whole ecosystem inside of one solution, that may not be beneficial to the pest control company or to the software company. There is value in giving them options to be able to choose, and in some ways that helps drive further innovation and improvement, because we know that we still have to compete, right? And we also know that we can provide value in this area in a significant way for a customer that for another customer it doesn't make sense. And so it's been a whirlwind over the past 5 years, all of the acquisitions in our space, and to see the direction that it's going. But really, those companies that are going to succeed are the ones that are focusing on the customer themselves, and not just this aggregation of services or aggravation of platforms or products, and then saying, here you go, right? So.
Well, and I like that you kind of look back and kind of in hindsight, you said the last 5 years. And even if we just say, so think back 10 years, like what were you doing 10 years ago? What was I doing? Those that are listening, some of you may have been in high school 10 years ago, and the technological advances that have happened and the way that business has been streamlined, especially in the home service space over the last 10 years has been, it's been one of those hockey stick type graphs. And I don't know that is slowing down over the next 10 years. I think that if we, fast forward to 2033, we may have made more advances in the next 10 years than we did the last 10 years. There's Chat GPT, which is just a hot catchphrase right now, and machine learning and artificial intelligence and that type of learning. And who knows how you guys will incorporate that into the software to improve the customer experience and user. So this stuff is all just like very, very, very exciting to me, because it takes kind of normal Joe Schmoes like me and makes them look like rock stars running these companies. And you're like, no, but it's just Briostack and Lincoln. They're the guys that are actually really, making us look that good. And so as we kind of round this out, Lincoln, what advice would you have? It doesn't have to be specific to Briostack, but maybe just like software and technology in general. That also seems to be one of the things that blue collar workers and owners of companies like to complain about the most. Oh, if it just did this, oh yeah, it's broken. When your software goes down for a third of a second, you guys hear about it and it's like, this whole thing sucks. This whole thing is just a pile of junk. And it's like, well, it's not. It did go down for a third of a second. We really do apologize. But there was ice storms for, the last 4 months, sort of thing. But how would you speak to, or what advice in general do you have just about using software? And like I said, it can be Briostack specific or just in general, but what would you say to that?
Yeah. So to me, this business and pest control is still about relationships, and you shouldn't have technology replace those. Technology should be able to enhance those relationships. And so with our customers, even for those customers that never want to see a technician face to face, and they don't ever want to have a phone call, there's still an important way to interact with them as a person, as a customer. And as companies are looking to grow or provide quality service, you really have to be willing to incorporate technology that helps you do that. And an example, there are some companies that still want to call their customers every day to say, hey, we're coming out tomorrow. And it's so they can provide a personal touch. And that's really good. But there are better ways that you can take that employee and have them make a difference for the customers in other ways, because your customer doesn't actually really want that call typically. And so using something like an automated notification system, which most companies use now, right? That's 5 years ago, that was a brand new thing. Now, most people, they get a text, they get an email, sometimes it's an auto call. They're making that personal. And then the office staff that was calling now can be more proactive about reservices, for example, and reaching out to those customers that are not having a great experience. And then you're solving their problems. And so you're reorienting that resource in a great way and a more effective way that is still personal and still relationship based. And I think that's one thing about the pest control industry. And I come back to this all of the time. It really is about relationships. You go to Pest World and it is great to see people all across the industry, distributors, manufacturers, competitors. It's good to see those people and have those relationships, and they have those relationships with their customers. And we like to have those type of relationships with the customers because that's what allow service industries to succeed is that you care about them and their success. And so you have to be able to use technology to accomplish those goals.
I love that. Lincoln, thank you again for your time and thank you again for being so generous with it. What's the best way for people to either interact with you or with your company, Briostack? Can you direct them towards the website that you would like them to go to, or do they find you on LinkedIn? How can they kind of carry on the conversation?
Yes, briostack.com. You can reach out to us if you're interested in looking at Brio, our application. You can fill out a form there on our website. I'm on LinkedIn. Please reach out to me there. Love to have conversations about all aspects of business and effectiveness and leadership and productivity and pest control and software and all of that. And so I am on LinkedIn and feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Lincoln, thanks again so much. Wonderful conversation. I hope people go back and listen to this time and time. There's a couple of different resources as far as books that Lincoln has mentioned that I think would help make the difference. And what an incredible thing Lincoln and the Briostack team are doing in helping us to do, at the end of the day, exactly what he said, have better, more enhanced relationships with our customers so that we can solve their problems, increase revenue, have them refer, all of those sorts of things that point towards profitability, which is good for all of us top to bottom. Until the next time, create a great day. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the comments. Really appreciate everyone participating. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to the Multiply You podcast. You'll see us again soon when you subscribe for future episodes.